What if I told you that in just 3 minutes, you could make someone feel more seen, more understood, and more emotionally connected to you than people who have known them for years? Not through clever lines, not through performance, not through pretending to be someone you're not, but through 3 simple shifts that most people overlook every single day. And here's the surprising truth. It has nothing to do with your appearance, your status, or how entertaining you are. It has everything to do with something far more powerful, something far more human. Hello, my dear friends. I'm Mary Smith, host of the Mindful Senior Living YouTube channel, and today we're going to explore something that has the power to transform the way you connect with people, especially women, in ways that feel genuine, respectful, and deeply meaningful. Now, before we go any further, I want you to think about something for a moment. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like the other person never really saw you? Maybe they were polite, maybe they were even friendly, but somehow the interaction still felt shallow, as if you were speaking but not truly being heard. Many of us have experienced that feeling. And if we're honest, many of us have probably created that feeling for someone else without realizing it. Because in today's world, true attention has become incredibly rare. People sit across from one another while their eyes drift toward their phones. Conversations are interrupted by notifications. Someone asks a question, but before the answer is finished, they're already thinking about what they're going to say next. And the human brain notices this instantly. Psychologists often talk about something called emotional attunement. It's the quiet ability to sense when another person is truly present with us. When someone is attuned, their body language, their eye contact, their tone of voice, and their attention all signal the same message. You matter right now. When that happens, something remarkable occurs in the brain. The nervous system relaxes. Defensive walls soften. Trust begins forming, often without either person realizing it. And that is why connection does not begin with words. It all begins with your true presence. Now, if you're someone who enjoys learning how human psychology really works in relationships and communication, make sure you subscribe to the channel and join our growing community here at Mindful Senior Living. Every week, we explore deeper ways to build meaningful connections, strengthen emotional intelligence, and show up as the most grounded version of ourselves. Because the truth is, meaningful connection is one of the most powerful skills you can develop in life. So, let's begin with the first shift that can completely change the energy of any conversation. Presence. Presence sounds simple, but it's actually one of the rarest things people experience today. Most individuals walk into a conversation carrying a mental checklist in their head. What should I say next? How do I sound interesting? Do they like me? Am I saying the right thing? But the moment your mind becomes preoccupied with performance, you stop experiencing the other person. And people feel that. They might not consciously identify it, but they sense when someone is distracted, when someone is evaluating, when someone is performing. Think about the last time someone gave you their full attention, not the kind where they occasionally glance at you between notifications. I mean the kind where their phone was nowhere in sight, their eyes were focused on you. Their body leaned slightly forward, naturally interested. Their expressions changed as you spoke, showing that your words were actually landing somewhere. How did that feel? Most people describe it as surprisingly powerful. Some even say it feels almost calming. Because when someone is truly present with us, it sends a subtle psychological message to our nervous system. You are safe to be yourself here. Researchers studying human connection have found that eye contact, open body posture, and attentive listening activate areas of the brain associated with trust and empathy. In other words, the brain begins interpreting the other person as emotionally safe. And when a woman feels emotionally safe, her guard lowers naturally. No tricks required, no clever lines needed, just presence. Let me share a small, real-life example. Several years ago, a gentleman in his late 50s wrote to our community explaining that he struggled with feeling invisible during conversations. He believed that younger men had an advantage because they were more energetic or entertaining. But after learning about presence, he made one simple change. Whenever he spoke with someone, he placed his phone completely out of reach. Not face down on the table, not in his hand, out of reach. Then he focused entirely on the conversation. He made gentle eye contact. He listened without interrupting. He allowed pauses instead of rushing to fill silence. And something fascinating happened. Within weeks, he noticed people began opening up to him more easily. Conversations lasted longer. Women he spoke with seemed more relaxed and engaged, not because he suddenly became more charming, but because he became more present. You see, in a world where attention is constantly divided, full presence feels almost magnetic. It's rare, and humans are naturally drawn toward what feels rare and genuine. Now, here is something many people overlook. Presence isn't just about where your eyes are, it's about where your mind is. If your thoughts are racing ahead, planning your next sentence, you're not truly listening, you're waiting. And waiting is not the same as listening. True listening involves curiosity, which brings us to the second shift that creates powerful emotional connection: curiosity. Many people believe connection is built by talking more, sharing more, and impressing others with stories or achievements. But psychology consistently shows the opposite. Connection deepens when people feel heard. When someone asks thoughtful questions and genuinely wants to understand the answer. Let me ask you something. When was the last time someone asked you a question that made you pause and really think? Not a routine question like, "How was your day?" but something deeper. What's been inspiring you lately? What's something you've learned about yourself recently? What kind of moments make you feel most alive? Questions like these open doors inside the mind. They signal curiosity about someone's inner world, not just their surface. And when someone senses that kind of curiosity, they often feel valued in a way they rarely experience. A powerful psychological principle known as the self-disclosure effect explains this. Research shows that when people talk about their thoughts, experiences, and emotions, their brain releases dopamine, the same chemical associated with pleasure and reward. So, when you ask meaningful questions and truly listen to the answer, you are literally creating a rewarding emotional experience for the other person. But there's an important part that many people miss. After asking the question, you must give space. No interrupting. No redirecting the conversation back to yourself. No trying to top their story with a bigger one. Just listening. Holding space. Letting them finish their thought fully. This is one of the most powerful emotional gifts you can offer another person, because most people spend their lives feeling partially heard, half listened to, interrupted, or quickly shifted away from their own experience. When someone finally encounters a person who listens with patience and genuine curiosity, it feels incredibly refreshing, and that's where emotional connection begins forming. If you're finding value in this conversation so far, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps our community grow and allows us to continue sharing insights. Now let's continue exploring something even more important than presence and curiosity, because the third shift is where real connection becomes unforgettable, and it's something many people are afraid to practice: authenticity. We'll explore that together in the next part. Authenticity is the moment when a conversation stops being a performance and starts becoming something real. And if you think about it carefully, you can probably remember moments in your life when someone's honesty made a conversation unforgettable. Not because they said something impressive, but because they said something genuine. Many people walk into social situations wearing invisible masks. They try to present the version of themselves they believe others will approve of. They filter their thoughts. They soften their opinions. They avoid admitting uncertainty. And while this might seem polite or socially safe, it often creates distance rather than closeness. Because deep down, human beings have a remarkable ability to sense when someone is being guarded. Authenticity works differently. Authenticity says, "This is who I am in this moment." It's not oversharing. It's not emotional dumping. It's simply allowing your real thoughts and feelings to exist. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you're having a conversation with someone and they share a story about something meaningful in their life. Many people immediately jump into advice or try to shift the conversation toward their own experience. But authenticity might sound more like this: "That's really interesting. I've never thought about it that way before." Or even something as simple as, "I appreciate you sharing that with me." Those small moments of honesty carry far more emotional weight than perfectly rehearsed responses. And here's something fascinating that psychologists have observed. When one person allows themselves to be authentic, it gives the other person silent permission to do the same. It's almost like lowering a bridge between two emotional worlds. Suddenly, the conversation becomes less about appearances and more about understanding. This is why vulnerability can strengthen connection rather than weaken it. Vulnerability simply means allowing another person to see something real about you. For instance, instead of pretending to always feel confident, someone might say, "I sometimes get nervous in conversations like this." That kind of honesty often creates a moment of shared humanity. The other person realizes they're not the only one. And suddenly, the atmosphere becomes more relaxed, more human, more real. Researchers studying emotional intimacy often refer to this as mutual disclosure. When two people gradually share authentic thoughts and experiences, their sense of trust deepens. This process doesn't happen instantly, but it can begin surprisingly quickly when the environment feels safe, and that safety is created by the three shifts: presence, curiosity, and authenticity. Let me share another story. A woman once described a conversation she had with someone she had just met. At first, it was typical polite interaction, small talk. But at one point, she mentioned she had recently started painting again. Instead of, "That's nice," the person said, "That sounds meaningful. What made you decide to return to it?" The question wasn't dramatic, but it showed genuine curiosity. She explained that painting had been something she loved when she was younger, but life had become busy. The other person listened carefully and responded with simple honesty. "I think it's wonderful when people reconnect with things that bring them joy." That sentence stayed with her, not because it was clever, but because it felt sincere. She later said that moment made her feel understood in a way she rarely experienced. That is the quiet power of authenticity combined with curiosity. Authenticity doesn't mean revealing every detail. Healthy connection always respects boundaries. Authenticity simply means you're not pretending. You're not acting like someone you think you should be. You're allowing your real reactions to exist naturally. When you combine that with presence and curiosity, conversations begin to feel very different. They become slower, more thoughtful, more meaningful. Instead of rushing through words, both people start noticing small emotional signals: the tone of voice, the pause before an answer, the excitement when someone talks about something they love. These are the subtle moments where real connection lives. Unfortunately, many people miss these signals because they're focused on something else entirely. They're trying to be interesting, trying to impress, trying to control how they appear. But here is a quiet truth about human psychology. People rarely remember the exact words you said. They remember how you made them feel. Did they feel respected? Did they feel understood? Did they feel safe to express themselves? Or did they feel like they were being evaluated? This is why emotional presence often matters more than conversational skill. Someone can be incredibly articulate and still leave others feeling distant. Meanwhile, someone with simple words but genuine attention can create conversations that people remember for years. And this brings us to an important reflection. You can spend hours with someone and still remain strangers. Or you can spend a few minutes with true presence, curiosity, and authenticity and create a moment that stays with someone long after the conversation ends. The soul does not respond to quantity. It responds to sincerity. Now, as you're listening to this, I'd like you to pause for a moment and ask yourself a simple question. Which of these three qualities do you practice the least in conversations? Is it presence? Do distractions often pull your attention away? Is it curiosity? Do you sometimes focus more on what you want to say rather than what the other person is sharing? Or is it authenticity? Do you occasionally hold back your real thoughts because you worry about how they might be received? Take a moment and think about that. And if you feel comfortable, share your answer in the comments below. I read many of your comments personally, and it's always meaningful to see the reflections and insights that emerge. Because one of the most beautiful things about conversations like this is realizing we're all learning together. No one begins life as a perfect communicator. Connection is a skill, and like any skill, it becomes stronger with practice. In the next part, we're going to go deeper. We'll explore practical ways you can start applying these three shifts in everyday conversations. And you might be surprised how quickly small changes in your attention can create powerful emotional impact. Now that we've explored the three powerful shifts, presence, curiosity, and authenticity, let's talk about something that matters even more: actually living them. Because knowledge alone doesn't change relationships. Practice does. Many people watch videos about communication and learn fascinating ideas about human behavior. But when they enter a real conversation, they fall back into old habits. Their attention drifts. They interrupt without realizing it. They rush to fill silence, or they try too hard to sound impressive. Real connection grows when we slow down enough to notice these patterns and gently shift them. So let's imagine a simple, real-life situation. You're sitting across from someone during a conversation. It might be at a cafe or during a walk. Most people enter that moment with one quiet concern running through their mind. How do I come across? But when your focus is centered on yourself, you unintentionally move away from the other person. Connection grows in the opposite direction. It grows when your attention moves outward. Instead of thinking, how am I doing? Try asking yourself something different. What is this person experiencing right now? That single shift changes everything. Because when your attention moves toward understanding rather than performing, your body language naturally softens. Your listening becomes more patient, your responses become more thoughtful, and the other person feels it. Let me offer you a simple exercise you can try in your next conversation. It's something psychologists often call the 90-second pause. When someone finishes speaking, resist the urge to immediately jump in with your response. Instead, take a brief moment, just a second or two, and really absorb what they said. Look at them, consider the meaning behind their words, then respond. This small pause signals that you're processing their thoughts rather than waiting for your turn. Another powerful practice is something I like to call reflective listening. Reflective listening simply means briefly acknowledging what the other person shared. For example, if someone says, "I've been feeling overwhelmed with work lately," instead of quickly shifting topics, you might say something like, "It sounds like things have been really demanding." This shows that you heard them. It shows you care enough to understand their experience, and often that small moment encourages them to share more, which brings us back to curiosity. Curiosity thrives when you ask open-ended questions. Questions that invite exploration rather than quick answers. Instead of asking something that ends the conversation, like, "Did you enjoy your trip?" you might ask, "What was the most memorable part of your trip?" The difference may seem small, but the impact is significant. Open questions invite storytelling, and storytelling is where emotional connection grows. When people share stories, they reveal values, dreams, fears, and memories. These are the things that make someone feel known. Now here's another insight. Pay attention not only to what someone says, but also to how they say it. Notice the change in their voice when they talk about something meaningful. Notice when their eyes brighten while describing something they love. These are the subtle moments where connection lives. Notice when their energy softens while recalling something emotional. These subtle signals are windows into someone's inner world. And when you gently acknowledge them, it shows deep emotional awareness. For instance, you might say, "You seem really passionate when you talk about that." Or, "I can tell that experience meant a lot to you." Statements like these show that you're not just hearing words, you're sensing feelings. And emotional awareness is one of the strongest foundations of trust. Now let's return to authenticity for a moment. Because authenticity requires courage. Not dramatic courage, but quiet courage. The courage to be human. Many people believe they need to appear confident and perfectly composed during conversations. But the truth is, authenticity often means allowing small imperfections to exist naturally. For example, if you're unsure about something, you can simply say, "That's something I haven't thought much about before." Or, "I'm still learning about that." Statements like these don't weaken your presence, they strengthen it, because they communicate honesty. And honesty creates emotional safety. There's another fascinating psychological principle that plays a role here. It's called emotional mirroring. Humans naturally mirror the emotional energy of the people around them. If someone approaches a conversation with tension, the other person often becomes tense as well. But if someone brings calm, openness, and genuine interest, that emotional tone tends to spread. Your presence sets the atmosphere. Your curiosity opens the door. Your authenticity invites trust. And when those three elements come together, something beautiful happens. The conversation becomes more than an exchange of information. It becomes a moment of shared humanity. Now let me ask you something important. Have you ever met someone who made you feel completely comfortable being yourself within minutes? Perhaps they didn't speak dramatically. Perhaps they weren't trying to impress anyone. But somehow, being around them felt peaceful. People like that exist. And when you look closely at their behavior, you'll notice something remarkable. They are present, they are curious, and they are authentic. Those three qualities create an environment where others feel safe to open up. And the beautiful thing is that these qualities are not personality traits reserved for a few lucky individuals. They are skills. Skills anyone can develop with awareness and practice. And once you begin practicing them, you may notice something unexpected. Your conversations start feeling more meaningful. People linger longer in discussions. They share stories more freely. And even brief interactions begin carrying a sense of depth. Because connection isn't something you force. It's something you allow. Now, before we move into the final part of this conversation, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. If you're enjoying this exploration, make sure you subscribe to the channel and join our community here at Mindful Senior Living. Every week, we talk about ways to build stronger relationships, understand human psychology, and live with greater awareness and compassion. And in the final part, we're going to bring everything together. We'll talk about how just a few minutes of genuine connection can leave a lasting emotional imprint on someone's life, and why that matters more than most people realize. Let's bring everything together now. Because once you truly understand presence, curiosity, and authenticity, something very important becomes clear. Meaningful connection is not complicated, but it does require intention. Most people go through conversations on autopilot. They ask routine questions, exchange surface-level responses, and move on with their day without ever truly experiencing the person in front of them. And over time, this pattern creates a quiet sense of disconnection. But the moment someone enters a conversation with full presence, something changes. The energy slows down. The interaction becomes more human. The other person begins to feel something rare in today's world. Genuine attention. Attention is one of the most valuable emotional gifts we can offer another human being. And yet, it's one of the things people receive the least. Think about how often conversations are interrupted by distractions. Phones lighting up, background noise. When you remove those distractions and offer someone your full awareness, the experience becomes surprisingly powerful. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, just quietly meaningful. The other person senses that in this moment, they matter. And that feeling stays with people longer than most words ever could. Now here's something fascinating about human psychology. Research consistently shows that people don't remember conversations word for word. What they remember is the emotional impression left behind. Did they feel respected? Did they feel understood? Every interaction leaves behind a subtle emotional footprint. And when presence, curiosity, and authenticity are part of that interaction, the footprint becomes positive and lasting. This is why sometimes a brief conversation can stay in someone's memory for years. Thank you for being here. Not because it was long, but because it was real. You might speak with someone for 3 hours and never reach their heart. Or you might share a few minutes of genuine attention that leaves them feeling deeply seen. That is the quiet power of authentic connection. And here is something many people overlook. Connection is not just about romantic attraction, it's about human understanding. When you practice presence, curiosity, and authenticity, these qualities improve every relationship in your life. Friendships become deeper. Family conversations become warmer. Even everyday interactions with strangers become more meaningful. Because the moment someone feels truly heard, they often soften in ways they didn't expect. Now, I'd like you to imagine something for a moment. Picture 2 conversations. In the first conversation, someone asks questions while checking their phone. Their responses are quick and distracted. The conversation moves quickly from topic to topic without much depth. In the second conversation, the other person sets their phone aside. They listen patiently. They ask thoughtful questions and allow moments of silence without rushing. Which conversation would you remember more? Which one would feel more meaningful? The answer is obvious, and yet many people unknowingly create the first type of conversation every single day, not because they lack kindness, but because they lack awareness. Once you become aware of the difference, your interactions begin to change naturally. You start noticing small details. The warmth in someone's voice when they speak about something they love. The spark in their eyes when they feel understood. These subtle moments are where connection truly lives. And when you begin noticing them, conversations stop feeling like social obligations. They start feeling like discoveries. Discoveries about another person's experiences, dreams, struggles, and perspectives. And that is what makes human interaction so beautiful. No two inner worlds are exactly the same. Curiosity allows us to explore them. Presence allows us to witness them. Authenticity allows us to share our own. When those three qualities meet, something powerful happens. Trust begins to grow, slowly, naturally, without pressure. Now here's a final thought I'd like to leave you with. You never truly know what someone else is carrying inside their heart. Someone you meet during an ordinary conversation might be going through a difficult time. They might feel unseen, misunderstood, or overwhelmed. And sometimes a few minutes of genuine attention can become a moment of relief for them. Your presence can become a calm space. Your presence can become a calm space in their busy world. Your curiosity can help them feel understood. Your authenticity can remind them that honest connection still exists. Never underestimate the impact that kind of interaction can have. It might seem small to you, but to someone else, it can mean far more than you realize. So the next time you enter a conversation, remember these 3 simple shifts. Be present. Give your full attention to the person in front of you. Be curious. Ask thoughtful questions and listen with genuine interest. Be authentic. Allow yourself to respond honestly instead of performing a role. 3 simple shifts. 3 minutes of real attention. Yet those few minutes have the power to change how people experience you forever. And perhaps more importantly, they change how you experience others. Life begins to feel richer when conversations become more meaningful. Relationships feel deeper when people feel truly known, and connection becomes something that nourishes both people involved. Now, before we close, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 3 qualities feels most challenging for you right now? Presence, curiosity, or authenticity? Take a moment and share your thoughts in the comments below. I read your reflections often, and the community here is truly inspiring. And if this helped, make sure you subscribe to the Mindful Senior Living channel for more on emotional intelligence and living with awareness. Until next time, remember this. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can offer another human being isn't advice, it's simply your genuine presence. And when that is real, it has the power to change everything.